All right, let's take a look at how do we find the step number from a completed XY table. Now, just as a quick review, on 7-1, we found what was called the start number. And in order to build an equation, we need the start number and the step number. So you should be clear about how to find the start number. In this lesson, we're only going to be talking about how do you find the step number. Okay, so 2 tables and we're done. Now you're going to see these little triangles popping up here, and it means change. Okay, now technically it would be called a delta, but whenever you see this triangle, I want you to think of it as the word change, or the change in, and then it'll tell you what they want you to find the change in. So find the change in y. That's how we're going to read this, the change in y, and then find the change in x. Now how do we do this? Well, look at how you added or subtracted between the rows. Okay? And then we're going to simply stack those values on top of each other, and that y change, it always goes on top. So there it is right there, and we're going to color code that. And we're going to do the same with the x change. We're going to color code that as well. So let's go find our y change first. So look at your y column. What did you have to do to move from 5 to 9? And I'm hoping you just said, hey, it's plus 4. And while we're keeping things simple, just continue this pattern on down. Would we add 4 again? Yeah, 9 plus 4 is 13. So let's just put the plus 4 there. Okay. Now again, your y change goes on top of this little setup that we're making to create the step number. And since this is your y axis, we're going to call the adding or subtracting that we're doing out to the side our change of y. Okay. Now, how about we just come over and do the exact same thing for our change of x? Well, what would you add from 0 to get to 1? 1. What would you add from 1 to get to 2? Also 1. Let's color code that though. One of the things that happens is a lot of times people accidentally flip-flop these two numbers. Okay, so get in the habit of finding your y change first, and I just want you to write it right here, y change and your x change, and we're going to steal it. Okay, so 4 is your y change, that goes on top, and 1 plus 1 is your x change, that goes on bottom. If possible, you simplify that. What's 4 divided by 1? Well, it's 4. Okay, so that's all that's happening there. If you can simplify it, you do. If you can't, you just let it sit just like this, and that's okay if it's kind of awkward or weird. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one right here. You can see right here that we have minus 3, and right here we have minus 3. Over here we have plus 1 and plus 1. So again, these are your y changes because it's what's happening in your y-axis. That is what we would have to put right here, right? But our change in x is right over here is a plus 1 every single time. So we're going to be putting a positive 1 right over here. And so our step number would simplify down to the following. Negative 3 divided by positive 1 is negative 3. And again, don't panic if your x change is not a 1 or a minus 1 or plus 1. Put whatever you see right here, put it right down here on the bottom. And then if possible, simplify it. If not, leave it as an improper fraction. And that will give you the proper step number.